In Asterisk, there are several ways to perform operations, use functions, and manipulate substrings. So let's see here, we have mathematical operators. So we can use the expression, a mathematical evaluation, or we can use function calls, like operator argument 1 and argument 2. Here's an example. We are using count, right, plus 100. So we are using a variable plus 100. This adds 100 to the count variable. Function calls. We can set fruit as orange here, right? We are setting a string. And here we're using functions. The function length on fruit, it returns 6. If we add, let's say, the length of the variable fruit, it also returns 6. Functions can be nested and can operate in variables or literal values. Substring operations, this is very, very important when we use very often. So if we use column 1, we remove one digit from the left side, and the result is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we use a minus, right, we are going to get the right side of the expression. So in this case, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we use 0, column 3, we'll start from the beginning, right? And we are get 1, 2, 3 from 0 to 3, right? Here we have 2 and 3. It will start with the second, actually the third because it starts with 0. And 3 positions, 3, 4, 5. If we use minus 4, 3, we go back three numbers and then we get 3. So 6, 7, 8. So there are many ways to cut and slice the strings on the system, and this is very important to adapt the numbers to the destinations. In this example, we show an incoming context, and we are going to extract the area code from a 10-digit number. So first, the area code is the extension starting with 0, 3. So start with the N that matches anything from 2 to 9, 0 to 9, 0 to 9. So these 3 numbers. This is the area code. And here we use the no operation. This just prints on the console the area code. To get the last 4 digits, we are going to set the extension equals extension column minus 4. This will get this 4 extensions here. And then we are going to dial only the specific extension here. So it's a way to cut and slice the numbers to send to the proper extension the arriving call. In Asterisk PBX, there are several essential dialplan applications that allow us to perform various call handling operations. The answer application answers the channel, enabling further call processing. Dial type in identifier connects to another endpoint such as a SIP device or a telephone number. Hang up and the cause terminates the call with an optional cause code. Playback plays an audio file, which is useful for providing prompts or announcements. Go to context, extension, and priorities jumps to another location within the dial plan, allowing for branch and flow control. These applications, with their respective usage examples shown on the slide, form the building blocks for creating sophisticated call flows and interactive voice response systems in Asterisk. In this example, we have an incoming call flow defined using the Asterisk dialplan commands. When a call comes in, the extension is set to S, 1. So we're going to start as a call coming from a daddy channel. Then we play back, we dial an extension, and finally we go to voicemail, right? And this is the voicemail extension. So using GoTo, you can pass from one context to the other. Here are some common parameters for dial, playback, and GoTo. Dial is the type and ID. In this case, we are using SIP, the old Chen SIP. For now, in most of the cases, you're going to use PJ SIP. And the ID here is the extension name. And then timeout and options. 20 is the timeout. It will ring for 20 seconds before give up. And there are further options like T for transfer or there are some options in dial. We are going to discuss this further, right? And finally, go to uses context, extension, and priority. So these are some parameters for the applications we are using here. The important thing on this slide is to see the applications here. You're going to use applications for everything on your dial plan. Dial reference. You can easily see the dial reference on Asterisk using core show application dial. You're going to see all the details, but basically it's dial, the type and identifier. The type can be SIP, PJSIP, IX, DADI, and so on. Then the timeout, the time to ring the user, options, and eventually an URL. The URL is very unusual, but some phones support you to send an URL to send an image to the phone. There are a few phones who work with this resource, but most of the times we use only the type identifier, timeout, and options. And on dial, you can also dial one type and identifier and other. So you can dial both at the same time if you want, right? So you can dial more than one destination at the same time. So options are T, allow call transfer, uppercase T, allow called party transfer, or generate a fake ring back to the user. So there are many options here. So if we look at the core show application, you're going to see all the options that we have here. Here we have some examples. Dial the SIP endpoint. So we are dialing 6000, 6 or any pattern, comma 1, comma dial PJSIP extension 60 as a timeout in T. We are allowing transfer from the source. Multiple destinations. We can use PJC Desk and PJC Mobile. Both will ring at the same time, right? Here we're using 20 as a timeout, and we are allowing transfers, and we are going to generate a fake ring. With URL, we can send an URL to the phone to display something on the phone's screen. Some phones support, some phones don't support. There are some values such as dial status, answer busy, no answer, cancel, congestion, and chain unavailable. We use this dial status to further process the system. So when we are using voicemail, sometimes we check if it's busy or no answer, we send to the voicemail. And so we can take some decisions depending on the result value. Dial time, the time spent dialing, and answer time, the call duration if answered. This variable is set after the call, after the dial application. When building a PBX with Asterisk, there are different contexts that define how calls are handled. We are going to use from SIP trunk for calls coming from the SIP trunk and from internal for all extensions SIP and IX. In this slide, we'll cover the configuration for dialing between extensions within the Asterisk PBX system, as well as dialing out to the public switched telephone network PSTN. For dialing between extensions from an internal context, we use the extend setting followed by the extension number. So let's see here. So dialing between extensions in the context from internal, we define the extension 6000 with the priority 1 to dial the channel PJSIP and the endpoint defined as E1, as you're going to see on the lab. And 20 is the timeout. The extension 6001, priority 1, dial PJSIP endpoint 2. So whenever I dial 6000 from one user in the from internal context, it will dial the channel PJSIP E1. If I dial 6001, it will dial PJSIP extension 2, so it will connect this specific channel. To dial to the PSTN in the from internal context, this is the dialing to the PSTN. So anything starting with 9 point, so any number after 9, we are going to dial PJSIP slash trunk SIP, the name of our trunk, right? Now, it's an endpoint, but it's a trunk endpoint. $extend column 1, so the number dial removing the 9, so anything after 9, 20. As this is a very easy example, it's very unsafe too, because you can dial any international number here just by dialing 9. So this is just an example. In practice, in the labs, you're going to see that in many ways, we limit this, and we have to take care with international destinations because of fraud. But in this case, just as an example, we are dialing N number to the PJ SIP on the trunk SIP. After changing anything in the dial plan, you need to do a dial plan reload to reload the dial plan in memory. In this slide, we'll discuss how to handle an incoming call from the SIP trunk in Asterisk. The first code snippet here, we show the global setting. We are setting the global variable operator to the channel pjsip/e1. Now on the SIP trunk, from SIP trunk, this is the context of our trunk. We have the extension 999 on the priority one, dial this channel, the operator channel, 20. So this is a way to handle incoming calls in the operator. Why 9999? Remember the trunk configuration? The contact user is 999. So any call arriving on the SIP trunk will be translated to the extension 999 because we have configured this 999 on the SIP trunk.